Hopefully people will still come in. Um, yep, it's on right now. Alright, we're on. Okay, guys, is the SS Ultimate Goku. Um, Hopefully you guys can hear me. If anyone's in. Should we wait? So we get this stream underway. Game mode or real world? Seatbelts save lives. As we wait, we're gonna send this out to people. All right, they linked though because the first one was an epic fail. We tried to do it earlier and it didn't work. So today we're gonna discuss. We're gonna be discussing stuff. I'll get to this in a second. But we're gonna be doing some stuff, and it's gonna be lit. You know what I mean? So I'm going to try to do some different things here with the live streams, and here on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure to check out the Twitch if you are a YouTube viewer. That will be in the description as well. So I have decided to do some upcoming live streams of specific versus discussions of fights that probably anyone's probably not talking about, or just fights that may be underrated out there. That's kind of going to be the themes of these live stream discussions on some of these certain versus series, so you can come along and check them out, and or discuss in the chat. But we're gonna try to bring to light some different fights that probably aren't really looked at, or fights that are just versus fights that it's just like, well, they're cool characters. Let's just put them out there. So with that being said, we have today, to start it all out, because like I said, more common fights are fights I've kind of already done or worked on, or have done some type of stuff with CFC or Rewind Rumble, or myself, or other people have done them. So I've decided to come up with different fights, and we're gonna kind of talk about different fights that anybody ain't looking for, and this is just how it is. It's gonna be lit, I think, and I hope you guys will enjoy these. So we're gonna start it off with Katara and Mikasa. Of course, we're gonna start it off with Mikasa, and of course we're gonna just start it off with Mikasa and Katara because why not? So Mikasa and Katara. So, despite the idiots at Death Battle, um, and their predictable outcome of being biased towards their own franchise, um, since the only reason why Weiss lost was because they're in good relationships with Perona. Um, Um, we are going to discuss Mikasa in another fight. We are going to discuss Mikasa in a different fight. A fight not many people are talking about. Probably no one here is talking about because, quite frankly, they kind of don't have anything in common in the theatrical line of thinking. Since Katara likes water and Mikasa is um a Ackerman that tries to kill Titans with swords and whatnot. But in a sense, they actually are pretty similar. See, Katara and um, Mikasa have Asian roots to them. Um, as we all know, Mikasa is an Ackerman, half Ackerman, but she is also still from her mother's side. She actually is Asian. Um, she gets her strength obviously from her father, but when you look at her, she kind of takes more of a look of an Asian, and this is because she's half Asian, half Ackerman. But her strength obviously comes from her Ackerman half, and abilities. Now, where Katara is actually part Asian as well too. And yes, before we get started, yes, I know some people are going to say that she's technically a Native American, but it has been publicly admitted that the waterbenders have roots from both Native Americans and Asians, and it's pretty much shown in the series itself because obviously the water tribe, yin and yang yin and yang water spirits are based off of Asian culture. So it's kind of a mixture. So I know some people are going to say, well, she could be definitely passed off as a Native American. Yes, that is kind of true, but she can also be passed off as an Asian as well too. There is no actual confirmation of what race these characters are in Avatar because technically those races don't exist in Avatar. But there's no confirmation of that. It's just they take those cultures and they kind of combine them into their own type of cultures. So that's why when we originally gave a damn about the Avatar: The Last Airbender live action series for Netflix, which we don't give a shit about anymore because they got rid of the original creator. Uh, um, Katara can be passed off as a Native American or um, an Asian as well too. She can be either or, in my opinion, because of the way the Water Tribe was set up. With that being said, you have a character in Mikasa who definitively is part Asian, as well as you have a character that could possibly be passed off as an Asian character, possibly Native American, but still, nonetheless, you get the point. When people say that these characters don't really have direct common traits, I would kind of disagree with them on this. Yes, from the theatrical perspective, yes, they do not have anything in common because obviously she has swords and Katara has water and whatnot in terms of their fighting styles. But yes, they definitely do have much more in common than one would think. Um, they're also protectors for the main character. Katara was a protector for Aang throughout the series, as well as Mikasa was essentially a protector of Eren Yeager um, for Attack on Titans. So when people say that they don't really have identical things in common, I would disagree with this statement. With that being said, let's talk about the discussion of Mikasa Ackerman versus Katara. No last name. So this fight would come down to their fighting styles. Katara, obviously a great waterbender. Um, Obviously incredible as she's improved throughout the series and has gotten stronger, as well as the stuff, if you've been keeping up in the comic books that they've been making after the series had ended. She has gotten a lot stronger. Obviously, she knows how to do certain techniques, which could give her an advantage. One of the biggest issues, obviously, here would be the scenario of her bloodbending, because obviously Katara does not like to bloodbend. Um, and obviously, if she can control someone's blood, she could probably immobilize Mikasa. This would probably be her best strategy against Mikasa because she can bloodbend and you know she can essentially kill you from the inside with bloodbending. The problem with this idea is that I don't think Katara, one, realistically would use it because she is not someone who wants to use it. Two, it seems like she doesn't want to train herself any further in learning how to do bloodbending. So this would be the biggest ace in the hole here. In terms of this, in terms of her waterbending abilities and her healing abilities and all the stuff that she can do, these are impressiveness. These are impressive. One of the biggest concerns with Katara is that she has lost key fights before, and that would probably be a disadvantage for her. Mikasa has the Ackerman abilities. She's been punched. She's been punched through the hip and then freaking got up like it was nothing. So this would be a big durability edge for Mikasa with the Ackerman abilities. And as we've talked about, the Thunder Spear feat, you know, she's clearly faster than bullets. And I would argue that she is definitely around hypersonic in terms of speed, especially when you take into account the Thunder Spear. Some people have subjectively downplayed the Thunder Spear feats, as I explained against my Blake versus Mikasa stuff that we were talking about in the build-up to Death Battle's biased result of Mikasa losing to Blake, which was a pile of shit because we all know Mikasa factually beats Blake. You know, it's pretty obvious. I mean, come on now. The strength edge clearly goes to Mikasa. Speed. I don't believe anybody in Avatar, with maybe the exception of Toph, but even that's subjective, has been able to have the reaction time of someone that could be faster, um, going far faster than even a bullet, which obviously these guys can dodge bullets, but Katara hasn't really had any impressive speed feats, especially since most of the series in Avatar they're on Appa. So the speed feats for Katara as well as the other characters are not really as set, with the exception of Toph. Toph is probably the only one because she's blind and she has the seismic sense. And she's done nothing compared to what Mikasa had done through the Thunder Spear. So I would say that the edge for Mikasa would be pretty easily going to Mikasa over Katara. So skill slash technique, obviously water for Katara. Like we've talked about all the skills that Katara pretty much has is all into her bending, and she's very skillful at this. But again, the blood bending would be the biggest issue because again, she hasn't really properly trained herself as a bloodbender. I mean, she learned it and she picked it up pretty quickly. But she's not someone that really wants to know about bloodbending. And it's obvious from Legends of Korra because in Legends of Korra with Republic City, they made a law outlawing bloodbending. And obviously, Katara was in the city. So obviously, she doesn't bloodbend. And she obviously tried to make sure she never did, and she wanted to make sure no one else did bloodbending. So it's a skill that Katara has, but it's not a skill that she would want to use, because she doesn't like to do this. Now, granted, if we're talking about having them use their abilities, every ability that they possibly have, then this might help Katara. Because it's really hard to break free of the bloodbending. Now, granted, Mikasa does have the awakened power, so we're not sure if she'd be able to break free. I personally think she would with the awakened power, which of course Death Battle did not use in their Mikasa versus Blake fight, as we all know, because again, Death Battle were biased because Mikasa should have beaten Blake, as I did my videos prior to them, that I predicted that they were gonna bullshit with some bull crap, which they did. But Mikasa, like I said, the best bet would be the bloodbending, but again, Katara probably wouldn't use this. Even if she did use it, I don't think it would matter because I'm aligned in more believe that Mikasa would be able to get free of it because of the awakened power abilities that she has, because there was consistencies with bloodbending that if the blood wasn't strong enough that they can break free from it. But again, it is a big issue and it is a big gray area because most of the bloodbending feats that we've gotten were from Legends of Korra and from Ahmad, as we all know. So, like I said, and again, Ahmad's someone who actually was willing to use it multiple different times, where Katara was not. Katara did not want to use bloodbending. She didn't train herself any further in it. It's clear as day she didn't. because she didn't want to know anything more about the skill. She hated the skill. So I don't think this would be a factor in this hypothetical fight. Um, and Mikasa, with her experience, and also the fact that Katara has lost to other characters, we know we can scale her. When she went up against Azula, she obviously, Zuko and everyone, they were helping out. It wasn't a one-on-one fight. And also Azula wasn't at her best in that fight. So Katara's not really had her fair share of one-on-one fight victories. So in this particular fight right now, I'm leaning towards more of Mikasa winning the fight. I think she outclasses Katara in almost everything right now. But again, it's the bloodbending thing that is probably pretty inconsistent, because that would be the one element we would have to kind of dig more deep into if these two were to cross. Because would she be able to resist the ability if Katara decided to use it? But again, I don't think Katara would use it. So without it, I don't think she could win. So that's where I stand with this discussion. That I think Mikasa would win this fight, just like how she should have won 2 weeks ago in the death battle against Blake, which, of course, death battle sucked and were biased in, which I predicted in my videos, of course. So yeah, that's where I'm saying here. So some of the people that have commented and chatted in here. Hey, Judge AT Max. Yo, Katara versus Mikasa, I'm laughing right now. I mean, I explained why the fight makes sense. You should do this more often. I will be doing this more often, actually. This is something that I'm planning on doing. I'm not going to do fights, but I will reiterate, I'm going to try to not do fights that are popular or fights that people think are in common with one another. I want to do fights that people that probably people don't think should go up against each other, but actually does kind of make sense in a certain way when you look at the grand scheme of things. And that's what I'm kind of doing here. Obviously, most people, when they look at this type of fight, they see, oh, Katara's a waterbender. Mikasa doesn't have any water element to her, so why would you put these two together? So, I obviously explained earlier why these two actually have more in common than people think. And I'm going to also try to avoid stomp fights. But obviously, let's face it, when it comes to stomp fights, it's very hard to do it because a lot of people will think it's more stompy than it is. So I'll try to avoid doing overly offensively stomp fights, but I can't promise that because obviously certain fights, it's just going to be those ways when it comes to things in common. In a match between these two, the location of the battle needs to be specific. I would say a forest with a small pond. Specific in a certain way. Obviously, if water is around, Katara would have a much more better advantage because she would have all her arsenals with her. If we're talking about like in a city with titans all around and whatnot, kind of the way Death Battle portrayed their fight with Mikasa and Blake, Katara might have a problem because there won't probably be enough water for her to use her bending. But still, I think It'd be close to the city, but still kind of like, water, maybe a lake around there, so Katara can have her, water. Um, I don't think Katara will bloodbend. That's not in her nature. That's what I was thinking too. I don't think it's in her nature to do it. She has done it though in Avatar at least 2 times. I know she did it in. Well, she obviously did it when it was first introduced, but then there was another time she did it as well. Um, I believe it was when she went up against the person who killed her mother, wasn't it? That was the other time she did it. If I'm remembering correctly. So she has done it. Um, but again, it's very very it's not something I think she would do again. Especially the only reason why she did it, I believe, against the guy who killed her mother was because she still wanted vengeance for him. And then once they finally, you know, got her, you know, got her to realize that this was not the right thing to do, um, she went back to who she normally is. So I don't think she would do it either. Katara versus Queen Alice would be a great matchup. I'm not really sure who that is, but okay. And then Stefan said Ellis wants to fight Sora, was hilarious. Really wants Sora to blitz her. Okay. I would pretend that Mikasa is Black Panther and killed Blake, like in Rewind Rumble. Yeah. If only Death Battle got it right. It won't be the last time they get a fight wrong. So we'll be talking about them probably in the future. I don't know. There's a lot of Death Battle fights I haven't watched that they probably screwed up. I mean, I've stopped watching a lot of the Death Battle stuff. There's at least 2 years worth of Death Battles. I'm gonna take a shot in the dark that I haven't watched and don't know the outcomes for, because I didn't pay attention to it. So that I'm sure they screwed up. Death Battle needs to bring Gara back. I would put him against Sandman from Marvel. Nah. They don't need to bring Gara back. If they bring Gara back, everyone's gonna go anal shit if Gara loses. Which, that was one of the fewest Death Battles I thought they got right, but the research was a little wonky. But I will still go to my grave defending Toph Beifong winning that fight against Gara. But the research was wonky because there was a lot of comic book stuff that they missed. From Toph Beifong. Sandman cannot manipulate sand that has chakra, which is impossible for him. Okay. If Ruby appears in a death battle, I would say she would go up against Gon or Deku. I can't think of any others. Well, I'm going to tell you who she's going to go up against, and it's going to be neither of those two. It will be Maka from Soul Eater. And that fight is actually confirmed. Death Battles Wiz a couple of years ago said that in I don't know if it was a couple of years ago or if it was a year ago, but he said in some podcast, because someone showed it to me, that before Monty Oum had passed away, for anybody who doesn't know, Monty Oum, rest in peace. He was the creator of Ruby. He was the creator of Ruby. He passed away. He was only 32 years old. It's such a sad story. I believe he was only 32 years old. He was really young. Unfortunately, that happened. It was something wrong with the surgery or something that he got, and he passed away. but he had promised, or Wiz, aka Ben Singer, um, you know, had promised Monty Oum that they would have on Death Battle Ruby Rose versus Maka from Soul Eater. Um, so um, so that fight will happen. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it is a fight that apparently will happen because Ben had promised Monty that they would do that fight. I don't know when they're gonna do it, but they're going to do it at some point. So yeah, that's who Ruby will go up against. There's a lot of fights that I'm thinking of right now, and I mean a lot only because of their similarities. Queen Alice is a Disney. Oh, the Frozen character. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't really pay attention to current Disney princess characters because obviously I'm an adult. Um, and I don't have any kids, so I don't need to focus on that stuff. Obviously, the older characters from my generation I still keep up with, but because of I was a kid when I watched those, but I'm not gonna try to focus on newer characters that obviously really aren't for me because obviously I'm an adult. Uh, but obviously if I ever got a kid, whenever that would be, I would, obviously have to get back into that stuff. But right now, just sticking with the stuff, with the fighting stuff. You know what I'm saying? Unless they bring back characters from the past time like Animaniacs or Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons is supposedly coming back, though. I'm kind of concerned about what they're going to do to Tiny Toons with not putting Mar Duff in there. So yeah. Anyways, WTF kind of match up is this? Katara would destroy her. No, she wouldn't, as I just explained in this earlier, that Mikasa would actually win this fight. As I've already explained and have given my reasons to why I believe Mikasa would win, because of the awakened abilities, Katara wouldn't use bloodbending because it's against her nature, as was already pointed out to Max in the chat. And obviously Mikasa is faster than Katara. Katara doesn't have any really big, strong speed feats. And by the way, you can't say that I don't know what I'm talking about because I actually read the comic books for this series. If you're gonna come at with me on Avatar stuff, you guys better really have like actual scans and actual things because I can tell you right now, I read the comic books, okay, for Avatar, okay, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Avatar, I mean, I know my shit when it comes to Avatar. So when you guys come at me, this is the stuff that I read. Okay, this is one of the fewest comic book things I read right now because the comic books for Avatar really entertain me. It's new material, which is what I like. If it was the rehashing of the anime, I wouldn't want to watch. I wouldn't read it because I just don't like reading old shit. But so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Avatar. That's one of my strongholds in researching is the Avatar series. A lot of people come to me for Dragon Ball stuff, but obviously Avatar is another one that doesn't really get enough. I don't really get enough appreciation, I don't think, for my Avatar research. Because I know my shit when it comes to Avatar. If I do say so myself. But yeah, I wonder who Luffy is going to end up against. I don't think I've seen him. I thought he was in a death battle, wasn't he? Wasn't Monkey D. Luffy in a death battle? Or I know he was in a 1 minute melee. Yes, we know about the 1 minute melee. Everyone still talks about that reaction to 1 minute melee to this day. No, I actually talked to some of the 1 minute melee people, and we're cool. Like I told them, like, look, it was. I didn't really know what the process was with you guys. I apologize, and yeah, they're cool with me. The 1 minute melee guys. I mean, I don't know what they're doing right now. I don't know what 1 minute melee is doing now, but I mean, yeah, I haven't talked to them a long time now, but you know, everything's cool with them. So I don't know why people still bring it up. The Luffy and Naruto thing, the reaction thing, or whatever. You know, um, I still get flake for that. I still get flake for that. But it's like, dude, I didn't know the process. It was different back then. It's like, moved on. Just moved on. But yeah, this discussion, man, like, I would have to say that Mikasa takes it. Like I said, I mean, the only thing you can really say is the speed. I think Aizen and Madara 1 minute melee they stopped. It's been what, 2 years? I don't know. Like they've been outsourcing to other channels as of late. That's all I know is that like the last couple of seasons after they left Death Battle or Screw Attack as it was called years ago, they moved on to other YouTube channels that would host them. And at one point they were even they were even considering other alternatives that I probably can't get into, but there was a lot of different avenues that 1 minute melee was getting into for different hosts because they get they're a host on different channels. Like they're like 1 minute melee goes to like they're being host like from a different like channel to do their thing, and that's how they work everything out. But as of right now, I don't know what they're doing anymore. They're cool dudes. I mean, like I said, I got to talk to some of them, which I feel kind of lucky. Considering considering my reaction that I did the first time. I mean, and getting to apologize for them on that, and got to talk to them for a little bit. I mean, just chatting really. But still, I mean, it was cool to interact with them. Some of those guys. But yeah, I don't know what they're currently doing. Like I said, I haven't spoke to them until I haven't spoke with them since when I spoke to them when I spoke to them about that matter. So they were cool dudes to me. But getting back to what's this fight, this discussion, I would say Mikasa takes it over Katara, and like I said, the only thing really she has going for her is bloodbending, but she doesn't train herself to have bloodbending because she doesn't want it. She doesn't want to use it. So I'm lined into more believing that if this fight were to happen, it would be all of Mikasa winning, just like how she should have beaten Blake in the fight in Death Battle. And yeah, Mikasa gets the W here, guys, in this discussion for me. I thank everybody that participated in the chat. I don't get that many people here, but yeah, I could try to do, like I said, I'm gonna try to do more of this, come up with different ideas, different cartoon characters, and I mean literally cartoon characters, not just anime characters, and try to come up with different ideas, and try to kind of pick the brain of different fights. Pick the brain of different fights that I can discuss that probably will never be done by a versus series, but maybe, who knows, if people see this discussion, maybe they will become a versus fight. But that is kind of the objective of this, and to get feedback from different discussions in the live feed, and see where people are at. And also, if you're seeing this after this is over with as a live stream, and you're seeing this on replay, I would like to hear your thoughts on this as well too. Again, this is the discussion, but of course I'm going to give my own opinions on who I think wins as of right now. Obviously this involves an Avatar character, so got to bring something good to the table because I do read this stuff, guys, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to Avatar. Very, very knowledgeable when it comes to Avatar stuff, so I don't want to hear this stuff. So yeah. Can you do a versus series for a video game character? Possibly. We possibly can do that. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of different video game characters. I'm not very knowledgeable with just straight away video game characters. In terms of, the character was made for video games. I'm not very up to date on those type of characters. But I can try to do some ones that I do know. Maybe Zelda stuff. Or maybe even Android 21. I mean, Android 21 technically is a video game character because she was created specifically for a video game. I know that's going to be hard to believe for people to grasp that, but yeah, Android 21 is actually is actually a video game character because she was created as a video game character first. So, we could do some of those type of characters. In terms of those type of video game characters. But yeah, this is kind of where we're at with this, and I think we give Mikasa the W here. Mikasa gets the win. We don't got any consolational prizes here, but yeah, Mikasa with the big W, guys. But let me know what you guys think in the description, the comment section. This was a live discussion. Lucy versus Nami would be a pretty cool fight. However, that is a fight that a lot of people would like to see. So I don't know if we would exactly want to do that one. But yes, Mikasa gets the win. She gets the W here. From my take. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that the bloodbending would come into place in the comment section? Do you think that there would be a possibility? Is there a feat I overlooked? I don't think I overlooked any feats in Avatar. But what do you guys think in the comment section? Also, make sure to subscribe. There are a lot of non-subscribers that watch my channel, so make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I do have a Twitch, which also is streaming this too as well. So make sure you follow me on Twitch, which that link is in the description. The Patreon, the Discords, they're all in the links as well in the description. All that good stuff is there. So make sure to do all that stuff and subscribe and all that good stuff. That is all, guys. I'm out. See you guys next time for these discussions. We will continue this, and we'll see you next time for the next fight. Discussion.